Good evening and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting for December 11th, 2018. It is approximately 7:10 p.m. If we'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mayor Griesbach?
Here.
Mrs. Gatos?
Here.
Mr. Poach?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Johns?
Here.
Mr. Arsenko?
Here.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Little?
Here.
Mr. Ratcher?
Here.
Ms. Rock?
Here.
Mr. Hugus?
Here.
Mr. Sedlak?
Here.
Mr. Weldon?
Here.
Very good. We're going to start with our public comment on proposed agenda items only. There is a sign-up sheet. Has anyone signed in? This would be your moment to speak about any of the agenda items that we are going to be voting on this evening. There will be another public comment period at the end of the meeting for any municipal item. Seeing none, we're going to close that portion of the meeting. We're going to move over. We have an executive session announcement that council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to Citizens Night on Thursday, December 6th, 2018, beginning at 6:30 p.m. until 7 p.m., and from 6:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. before tonight's council meeting. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's December 11th council meeting. Council, in front of you are the minutes of the budget hearing of November 1st, 2018, the budget hearing of November 8th, 2018, Citizens Night meeting of November 8th, 2018, the council work session of November 8th, 2018, and the regular council meeting of November 13th, 2018. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or additions or questions, council? There were some comments by Mr. Little last time. Was that corrected?
Yes.
Yeah, Sharon and I talked about that.
Very good. And then as with everything we're going to be voting on this evening, we discussed all of this at length at our council work session on the previous Thursday. So we have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Reports of our tax collections. Council, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. List of bills and budget transfers. I would like to seek a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And the payroll report.
Motion to approve.
There is a motion
Second.
and a second to approve. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Very good. The ayes have it. Council, vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities.
I have
That
a
is the blue.
nomination, Mayor.
That is the blue sheet.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupt.
Do you have a,
I have a nomination that I'd like to make.
go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Donald Bucky Communell to the Sixth Ward Water Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Duncan, anything else?
Yes, I have one more. Recreation and Parks Advisory Board. Rhoda, I hope I get this name right, Larger. I'd like to nominate her.
Second.
Yes, that plan one down.
Aye.
We have a motion and a second to, I'm sorry, so Mr. Duncan, this is for the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board? Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Excuse me, Mayor. There's so many openings due to the being the end of the year with a lot of terms ending. So if we could just maybe make a blanket motion to accept all the people that have put in, nominate everyone, and then we can make our appointments next month.
Linda, I have three, a woman that has applied to 3 boards. so-
Well, we can accept everyone, and then we'll make our appointments in January.
Oh,
You're
So,
you're
a
making a
blanket-
motion to...
Yeah, I'm good.
Blanket
yeah,
appointment for
great idea.
everyone that has applied. I would like to,
I agree.
I think that would be,
Well,
accept
let's-
everybody.
Well, let's start with this. So Mrs. Gatos is making a motion to appoint,
No, nominate.
sorry, I apologize, to nominate everyone that is requesting
Correct.
nomination.
I have
Yes.
a question.
There is a
on that.
motion.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Let me get a second first on that, and then we'll discuss. We have a motion and a second, and now discussion. Mr. Duncan?
So if there's multiple candidates, you're saying that we should nominate them all for the same board?
Correct.
But you're only going to appoint.
And then we'll only appoint one in January.
Just
Okay,
for
so does
nomination.
my nomination stand or not?
Correct.
Yes.
Everybody, yes, everything would stand. Everybody that applied would be nominated for the position. In January, we will appoint
Per ward if it's
for.
happened.
Why
for-
would we do that?
Why? Because there's so many.
The effort, in the effort
I
of
mean,
time?
In the effort of time, there's so
I
many
think we're
boards that
wasting more
have the.
time discussing it than
Well,
what
we
it
wouldn't
would
have,
have
but
taken
that's,
to
you know,
do.
right.
Well, we have a mo-
usually go by
Motion, yeah,
ward,
okay.
and I was going to as Ward 1, make that, but you decided you needed to go ahead.
No,
and-
I didn't need
So-
to, I just thought that
Okay.
I'd be first to nominate.
Yeah,
But
well, we usually go
this
by
is
ward.
unprecedented, I've never seen this in my
Okay.
7 years
Well,
up
it
here.
doesn't
but-
mean it can't be done, so I was just.
No, it can
a
be
request.
done,
Thank you.
absolutely it can be done.
Thank you.
But the record will show that, that your nomination, or your nomination of Mr. Communell and your nomination of Ms. Ioger will both be, they're already
Inclusive.
established.
Stands.
So we have a motion and a
Whatever.
second to nominate the entire list.
Correct.
Wow.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
We'll do a roll call. So roll call. Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
I'm not in favor of, no.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
no.
Mr.
Aye.
Wilson?
The ayes have it. So that is your blue sheet, council. And that'll all be reflected in our January meeting. Moving to our consent agenda, we have new business 18-4-SUB. Mr. Little, please.
There's something else.
Okay, number 1 is STUM consolidation. I think we've been going by STUM, is the pronunciation. Applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of 2 properties known as tax parcels 640K 135 and 640K 142. Applicant proposes to consolidate the 2 properties into 1 lot. Property is located at 244 and 246 Willow Drive in the R2 one-family residential zoning district, and the Planning Commission has approved, recommends approval.
So moved to approve.
We have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Comments? Roll call, please, to approve.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, second item is UPMC East. The applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct 29,751 square feet of emergency department addition and relocate the existing ambulance drop-off area. The property is located at 2775 Mosside Boulevard in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district. Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Or-
We have a motion and a second. Comments? Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Abstain.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item.
Okay, number 3, Fox Plan Apartments. There's going to be the next 3 have to deal with the Fox Plan Apartments. We had a On one of these, we had a public hearing on Thursday evening for the earth moving, a conditional use. This one is for the preliminary and final subdivision. Applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of 5 properties known as tax parcels 856P331, 856P339, 857A72, 857A78, 857A82. Applicant proposes to consolidate the 5 properties into one lot. The property is located at the end of Fox Plan in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district, and the Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments? Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Abstain.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Little.
Okay, the same development, Fox Plan Apartments applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct a 4-story, 132,527 square foot apartment building and associated site amenities. The property is located at the end of the Fox Plan Road and is comprised of 5 properties that are proposed to be consolidated into one. The property was rezoned R5 multifamily residential zoning district. Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any comments? Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Abstain.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, number 5 is the public hearing we had on Thursday on this. This is applicants requesting a conditional use approval pursuant to section 4018 of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to permit cut and fill operation totaling 21,159 cubic yards of earth. The property is located at the end of Fox Plan Road in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district, and the Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Motion to approve?
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments? Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Abstain.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, the number 6 is a Worldwide Auto Group LLC. Applicant is requesting conditional use approval pursuant to section 401 of the Monroeville zoning ordinance 1443 as amended to permit vehicle sales at the existing building. Property is located at 2939 Mosside Boulevard in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Council, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, number 7 is the Sky Zone subdivision. The applicant is requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval of property known as tax parcel 1106-N279. Applicant proposes to subdivide the property into 2 lots. Property is located at 16011 Way in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve. Any comments, council? Seeing none, roll call. Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And we have one motion this evening. Mr. Little?
Yes, this is the motion to authorize to advertise an ordinance which will establish the Board of Appeals for the Pollution Control and Flood Reduction Program, which shall hear and decide appeals made by property owners from decisions of the municipal manager.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Little. We'll move over to our ordinances. Mr. Ratcher, please.
First ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville fixing the real estate millage for land, buildings, and structures for 2019. It's my understanding there's no millage increase.
So moved to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, council? Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Ratcher.
Next ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville to provide for the adoption of a budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for the calendar year beginning January 1, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Ratcher.
Next ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville continuing the deed transfer, mercantile tax, business privilege tax, and local services tax pursuant to the Local Tax Enabling Act of 1965 as amended.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico.
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Johns. Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Ratcher.
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville adjusting the salary system structure of 2019.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments?
You'll see.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
No.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Ratcher.
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville establishing the 2019 fee schedule.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Finally, we have an ordinance amending ordinance number 848 regulating parking on Fairview Drive. And it appears that in our packets is a handout that describes the no parking zone on Fairview, and it looks like it's on both sides of the street for the entire length of the street.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Comments? Roll call. Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Harvey.
Aye.
Mr. Johns.
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico.
Aye.
Mr. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Ratcher. And while you have the floor, if you have a report for this evening?
I have no report, Mayor.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Little.
Yeah, I have two, actually three. One is not on there. Real quickly, Mr. Yugis has informed me that we are going to require, so council knows and the public knows, show cause hearings for possible demolition of properties in Monroeville. This is for the Community Development Block Grant. And we would have to have those hearings before the January 3rd work session, and it would start at 6 o'clock because there's 10 properties. Now, whether or not any of the property owners show up or not, we don't know. Do we yet, Paul? If any of them will?
We don't know.
We don't know. I think we had one inquiry, and that's...
We have had discussion with one individual.
Yeah. So it could go relatively quickly, be done within a half an hour, or you could have a dialogue of a person why they do not, they show cause as to why their property should not be demolished. And this is one of the few areas where we get money, ultimate money from the federal government through the county for Community Development Block Grant, and it's for the demolition of homes that are structurally unsound. So that's an FYI for council and also the public, that unless council has a disagreement with that, we're going to do that at 6 o'clock on January the 3rd. Okay?
Very good.
Okay, the other one is just a reminder, refuse and recycling are a day late, Christmas and New Year's weeks. And also, Joe, can you bring up, bring up the Change a Kids' Lives, yeah, okay, well, can't read that too well in there, but the people out in TV land probably can read it better than the people here. This is going to be an event this Thursday that I thought that I'd bring to the public's attention at Forbes Hospital. It's an event to change kids' lives. It's Thursday, December 13th, and what it is that there are gifts given away, obviously during Christmas time, to those kids that have disabilities. And at 3:15 p.m. this Thursday, adaptive bikes and strollers will be given to kids, and at 4:15, communication devices will be given to kids. And this is in the Forbes Learning Center at Forbes Hospital. It's put on by Variety, which is a children's charity, and I'll read this verbatim from the flyer. Children's Charity are excited once again to partner together to enable children with disabilities to live life to the fullest in our community. Please join us on December the 13th for a very special presentation of tailored adaptive bikes, customized adaptive strollers, and communication devices to local kids with disabilities and their families. Variety is also striving to identify every eligible child who could benefit from an adaptive bike, adaptive stroller, or a communication device. All equipment is presented on a first-come, first-served basis throughout Variety's 54-county service area in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. I thought I'd bring that to the public's attention. And that concludes my report.
Do you have some on the Christmas?
Pardon me? Yeah, I already mentioned that about the refuse and
I didn't hear
recycling.
you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Little. Mr. Hugus, any report for this evening?
No, sir.
Ms. Rock?
Nothing.
Thank you very much. And we're going to move over to our public comments on any municipal item. If anyone would like to address council regarding any municipal item, now would be your time to do so. Seeing none, we're going to close that part of the meeting, and we're going to move over to our reports of our council members. Mrs. Gatos, we'll start with you.
Okay, staying in the what's not going to be open is the senior center will be closed on Monday, the 24th, and Tuesday, the 25th. And as always, if Gateway schools are closed, the center is also closed. And lastly, there are no more Saturday bingos, unfortunately, so keep that in mind. And I will just say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, safe to everyone, and enjoy your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gatos. Mr. Poach?
Just holiday wishes to everyone this year, and safe and prosperous New Year.
Thank you. Mr. Harvey?
The Edgemead project, where the sewer collapse happened, is finally complete. I have a few pictures. Joe, can you put the one up? That's what it was before the work started. Could you go to the next one, please? One after that. Next one. That's what it looks like. That's what it looked like when the work was done. You can see their yards are totally a mess, and but that's the end of the project, and the pipe has been restored. What you see there is what the street looked like before the engineering department asked the fire department to come down, and they brought their tanker truck down and washed down the street and the driveways, and that's what it looked like after they were done. So they came down on their own time and washed down the street and the driveways as best they could. The project is pretty much over for this year. The only thing left is to do some grass planting and landscaping in the spring. Paul, do you have any idea what the final cost on that was?
It was around 120. We're not finalized with the bill yet.
So it would have normally been a project paid for out of the MS4 funds, but unfortunately it happened when it did. But the project's over, and the yards are secure, the foundations are secure, and the road's cleaned up, and that situation is over. Once again, I wanted to express my condolences to the Rizzo family for the passing of Al Rizzo. He was a retired Monroeville police officer. He was with the fire department. I've known him a long time. He was a good friend, and he will be missed. The art designs for the new MS4 emblem at Gateway, I believe the mayor was contacted, and they are ready to go do some judging on those, and we should have those shortly. We'll bring the emblems up here for a council meeting to show everybody the one that was selected. I would like to thank Bob Stevenson, who has served so long on the zoning hearing board. He has attended his last meeting because he termed out.
not because he wasn't appointed, because he is, served as long as he could. And I think he did a good job. I've got nothing but compliments on him, and he will be missed off the zoning hearing board. I believe Jim Rosapel is now the chairman there. And finally, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Mr. Johns.
Yes, sir. Real quickly, just want to remind everybody that the 17th of December, next Monday, is our event at Paul Mary's on Old Frankstown Road for Santa's Kids, which helps needy kids all around the local areas. If you can, stop by 4:30 till whenever. I promise you, if nothing else, you'll have a good time. Other than that, happy holidays to everybody. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Johns. Mr. Arcinko.
Couple of items. First off, to the Rizzo family, again, as Mr. Harvey had stated, condolences. Al was a good guy. Bob Stevenson, I agree, Mr. Harvey took some of my notes, but that's okay. Thank you for all what you've done. One of the things I do want to say is about our volunteer firemen. As Mr. Harvey brought up what they did for the folks down around Edgemead, that just shows you how wonderful of services we really did. These guys did it on their own, volunteered the whole 9 yards. So kudos to all our volunteer firemen, and especially to your former fire hall, Ron. They did a great job. Last but not least, we have the zoning hearing board coming up. Tim, what is that date in January? Do you remember?
Well, the date would have been January, no, it's the first, I take that back, it's January the 2nd, because it's the first Wednesday.
It is January 2nd, and I
Yeah,
wanted to make
it's the
sure
first
before I
Wednesday, yeah.
open mine. Any rate, I would like to request that as many residents from, especially the Fifth Ward, but I'm asking residents from all the wards rather, to come out, because the owners of the massage parlors are coming back in to try to appeal and reopen some of the ones that we've already closed. And they're trying to also keep the ones that I think there's still a couple open. And I really would like for us to try to get them closed down. Hopefully, we can get them shut down completely. It's a menace to our community. It's hurts our property values. It brings in trash, in my opinion. Not alone, the other thing is the human trafficking issue, which is horrific. So please come out, support our zoning hearing board, turn it down, come up and let them know how you feel, please. With that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Enjoy the holidays and please be safe. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Arcinko. Mr. Duncan.
Yeah, I just have one comment. On our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities, we're always looking for residents to come and fill these seats. You know, and it's a great thing, and they're volunteering their time. I just don't want politics to get involved in this. You know, it's hard enough to fill our parks, department, just using that as one example. But let's try and keep politics out of this. You know, if we have residents that come up and apply for this position, we should look at them and be thankful that they're doing that. That's all I have on that, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. To the Rizzo family, my sympathies, and you know how much we liked Al and enjoyed being around Al. And to Bob Stevenson, thanks for a great job, Bob. I hope you're around to do bigger and better things for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. An item of business up the top here, Council. Before the last weekend, we were contacted by a reporter from WTAE regarding Facebook comments on our municipal Facebook page, and that some comments were deleted once they were placed onto Facebook. Mr. Ratcher, there was a conflicting story of if you can do it, if you can't do it, should you do it, why would you do it, why wouldn't you do it? So if you could maybe speak to that for a moment.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, what's happened is that, of course, Facebook has become a medium for communication across the country, I guess across the world, really. And it's something that's new to all of us, so the ability to communicate that way is something that hasn't been regulated, and the question is whether or not any regulations apply to it. The American Civil Liberties Union has taken the position that a Facebook page of a governmental entity, a public entity, that if you have such a, there's really two examples of that. One is you have a Facebook page where nobody can comment, and you simply put up, informational stuff. They're going to be paving a street down here, or there's going to be a tree lighting ceremony over there. The other kind is you put up that same kind of news, but yet you allow comments. And the position of the ACLU has been, and there has been litigation in the courts, that has said essentially that that is a public forum. And if it's a public forum, you're not allowed to take one comment down as against another comment, because that's that is not a content neutral regulation, and you're essentially censoring public comment. There has not been a definitive court case yet in the Supreme Court that has said one way or the other whether that is the case, although that's the way it seemed to be moving. The ACLU in many states has sued the, what they've seemed to pick on in particular have been the governor's offices that have Facebook pages. And they've come up with some rulings, some lower court rulings that say, no, you can't do that. You can't censor comments because it's a public forum. At this time in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, Allegheny County, it's my opinion that it is not illegal to do that. Although I do think the trend is that eventually a case will make it to the Supreme Court. And my feeling is that because the First Amendment is held so dear to all of us, they will find that when you have a Facebook page, it's a public forum. So the question then becomes for the municipality and any public entity with one of these Facebook pages, whether or not to allow comments. And I think the safe rule would be that if you allow comments, you have to allow everybody's comments. Now, the exception I would make to that is if somebody posts a profane comment or a comment that is really pretty offensive, way over the line in any way, I don't think anybody would argue that that might be a comment that should not be allowed to continue on Facebook. But the other way, and probably the safe way to do it, is just to say, okay, we're going to have a page that is informational in nature, and we're not going to take any comments one way or the other. If you do that, then that doesn't become a public forum, and you don't have the allegation that, hey, you're censoring comments that you don't like.
Right.
So that's, I think, the question that the municipality has to answer as a policy standpoint as to which way you want to go with that. And my advice would be that if you allow comments, allow everybody's comments, except those that are, clearly offensive or out of bounds. And that would not include comments that just say, you people on council are a bunch of idiots. I mean, our free speech in this country allows people to say that. And so you either do it that way, or you just say, we're not going to have any comments. If you want to make comments about what goes on in the government, these meetings are your opportunity to do that. And of course, we do have laws that protect people's right to come up here and say whatever's on their mind. So that I think is the policy question for council to answer.
Okay. I mean, all that being said, council, I mean, with what Mr. Ratcher just explained, I mean, I think Facebook is certainly a good outlet to get information out to residents. A couple of the concerns I have as far as to continue to allow comments is that we really don't have the staffing to monitor comments. And probably one of the biggest issues I have is that if misinformation gets put out about what's going on, we certainly want to use this forum to get as much information out as possible, but if the comments become misleading and people, maybe they think that that's what's going on versus what's really going on, that's one of the concerns that I would have, is the staffing issue with that. As Mr. Ratcher said, we do have these public forums. Also, every council person up here has has an email address, has a cell phone number or a phone number that's public. We have our website certainly that has all the information on it, and we certainly have a presence here as far as telephone and office staff to take any kind of questions or concerns. And also to, Facebook comments that would not, that doesn't distinguish if a person's a resident or not. So we would, there's a residency issue as far as commenting to the municipality. But this is a policy that's up for council, so I'm curious what everybody thinks up here.
Well, I never
Well-
even thought about the not being a resident, being able to see that on Facebook. That's a really good
There's a lot of
Before-
non-residents that
Yes,
comment.
that would
on Facebook.
comment. That's something I never even thought of.
Well,
I think
before,
that's
before
really good.
council comments, just from a technological standpoint, if council decides to go where there's no comment, you will not be able to, well, there's two avenues you can go into. Right now, we have a public page, all right, and you have a public page, and I am not a Facebook expert by any stretch of the imagination with respect to the technology. But if you have a public page, anybody can Google Monroeville, and they can go onto and see the comments. If you wanted to restrict it to be a one-way communication, you could go in two avenues. One would be you have to have a personal page. Now, if you have a personal page, then that means that if you want to see what's going on in Monroeville, you have to have a Facebook page. All right, so it isn't a public page. Or the other avenue that you can go into is you can restrict common words like the, and, to, and things of that nature, which would tell the person who's trying to seek the information that they are blocked. All right, that seems to be the way that would go. So if you wanted to have it one conduit of a way, then it would have to, most likely would have to be a personal page. Now, if you decide to let comments go as we are right now, my understanding is, Mr. Ratcher, we can delete those comments, which is the comments that started on it with a resident, where he basically said his comment was deleted. But we can delete, if I understand it, if council decides to keep in that direction in the way we are right now, we can delete comments because it's our Facebook page, is my understanding. And even though we do not have a policy per se, we do have a disclaimer on the Facebook page, as Mr. Ratcher mentioned, about profanity and things of that nature, and you can read that on the Facebook page. So I just wanted to mention that before council started a discussion on
Could I ask a question, just curious? With all the technology that's out there, you have a web page, you have all these gadgets, and so how important is the Facebook page? That's
Well,
important.
very good question.
I mean, is for us, not personally. I don't mean. I mean, as a municipality, how important is it?
A very good question. Facebook, more people, my understanding, a vast majority of people get their information on the social media more so on Facebook than they do on a website by far. Now, even the younger, and you can define younger generation, 35 and under, 25 and under, however you want, it's Instagram and Snapchat.
Right.
So even Facebook is kind of passé with the younger generation, but by far, we get more information out on a Facebook page than we do on our website.
Well, I just have a comment, and I'm gonna back the mayor up. You know what? Let's just shut down the comments. Our residents can come up here and talk to us with their comments.
I agree with that.
I don't want anything, I don't care what anybody on the outside of Monroeville has to say about us. They don't live here, they don't pay taxes here. For our residents, let them have it up here with us. If you just want to get information out, and I assume that's what it's all about, getting information out, let's just keep it at that and end it.
I think that's a good idea. Put it out there and just don't listen to any of the guff coming back the other way.
Yeah,
Mayor.
let them come up, that's all.
My problem with letting comments on Facebook is that people don't differentiate what the truth is. And so I don't have any problem with people having their own opinions and things like that, but putting it on our Facebook page, people believe what they see posted there. Well, that's not what was said on Facebook, you know? And seriously, and it doesn't have anything to do with the truth. Now, I would be in favor of shutting down the ability to make comments.
I agree 100%.
So,
And that as well, and just to give you an example of, and Tim really spoke to it about managing the problem. The organization I work for, it has almost 10 to 12 people that do nothing but manage the
Sit there
piece
and
of
read
that.
the comments.
We don't have the money.
And again, to manage that piece of the puzzle, it's a substantial thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but we really don't have much more than the standard disclaimer policy, too.
Correct.
Yeah, and
No, that is correct.
that's where we'll get into trouble,
I mean, yeah.
frankly, between them.
Yeah, you have to differentiate. We have the disclaimer policy. The one, everybody knows about profanity, illegal activity, vulgar language, abusive, discriminatory. And you can start to get into splitting hairs. For instance,
Yes.
embarrassing comments. Well, what is an embarrassing comment for one person
Yeah, it's-
may not be an embarrassing comment for another person.
It's not the
So
comments.
that's where you
Do we
get
have
into.
to vote on this, Nick?
Well, I think at this point, we just want to get
policy, isn't it?
I think we want to get a feeling from what council feels.
I
Why don't we
No
just
comment.
vote on it?
No
I have an
comment.
opinion. If you got a problem with me, call me.
There we go.
Yes.
And if you have a problem with me, call Mr. Duncan.
Well, my motion is to,
I'm serious. You could put whatever you want
wanna-
on this Facebook crap. I tell my daughters to stay off of it, and I'm not part of
How
it.
about I make a motion that we end the comments on the Facebook page and leave it just as informational? Obviously, our Monroeville residents can come up and talk to us anytime.
I'll second
So we have a
that.
motion and a second.
And I
to-
agree, 100%.
To enact that policy.
Yes.
Let's do a roll call, please, Sharon.
Whatever.
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Cinco?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
What is it for?
This is an affirmative would be to say that we're not going to allow comments.
Call you on the phone.
No, we're not
Yeah,
gonna-
call me.
Yeah, we're
But we're not
Okay,
going to allow
aye.
comments on the Facebook page. We will just have, it'll be an informational page.
Mr.
Aye.
Wilson? Okay.
Okay, the ayes have it. Very good.
End of discussion.
And long-term, as Mr. Little even touched on, as far as social media, long-term, and even what Mr. Poach was saying, this might be something that we need to explore
Yeah,
long-term as far as someone that does social media for the municipality or
Yeah.
make that part of someone's job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we had our menorah lighting. We just finished up Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah to those who celebrated. So thanks to Rabbi Mendy and the Chabad Center, Jewish Center of Pittsburgh for coordinating that for us. And also a thank you to the Miracle Mile Shopping Center for allowing that program to go on their property. It was a very nice event. And I want to thank also Temple David for having me over this past weekend. Temple David just is completing their 60th anniversary. They actually celebrated the entire year. That's the way to do it. But we wrapped up their celebration this past Sunday. I was cordially invited along with our new state representative, Brandon Markozik. It was a really nice morning, and people can't see, but Rabbi Simons is here today, so thank you very much. It was a really nice time. And they placed the time capsule, which I believe is going to be opened in 15 years. It's waterproof this time, right? That was one of the problems. But it was a great event, and thanks again for having me, and I really appreciate it. We had I mentioned this last Thursday, the American Legion Gold Star Post 820 on Old William Penn has become a non-smoking facility. Smoking was allowed for the past 55 years, from 1963 to 2018, and currently they voted to be non-smoking. However, the members there are trying to do a cleanup of the facility, and they're searching for funds to do so. If you would like to support that endeavor, you can certainly go to the American Legion on Old William Penn, or you can also do it online at GoFundMe, so that is gofundme.com. And if you just search for Gold Star Post 820 or Legion Post 820, Monroeville will come up, but Gold Star Post 820, if you search that on GoFundMe, that'll come up, and they're hoping to clean up their facility because of this no smoking change. I want to thank the Senior Center for having me over for their holiday pancake breakfast this morning. I want to thank the staff, Senior Council, all their kitchen volunteers for having me over. Also, Mr. Little was there, Mr. Harvey, Mr. Wilson. It was a nice morning, so, but thanks to the Senior Center and everyone involved for having us over.
I had babies.
And lastly, 'tis the season, we had the Recreation and Parks Department had their Holiday Light Contest this past Sunday. So they established all their ward winners. So we're going to go through the list here. So the way it works is that there is a winner from each of the wards, and then that happens on Sunday. And then on Monday, all the representatives go out and they go to the individual winners of the wards, and they pick a grand prize winner. So, Mr. Abali, you have those pictures. So we had in Penlear with the Baker family was the Ward 1 winner.
Ward 2.
That's Ward
Oh, no,
two.
1.
That's Ward 1 on
No, no,
Penlear.
sorry, Penlear, sorry.
No problem, I know the wards.
Yeah, he did.
How's that, Eric?
Yeah.
Mr. Poach is new, but this is, Mr. Poach, this is your ward. This
Yeah, it
ward
is,
you-
Ramsey.
you
That
know
one I
exactly
got,
where it is.
yeah.
I drive by that one
We
every
drive
day.
every day.
And this is on Ramsey Road, Denise
Six of my
Burkholder,
Yeah, they go.
second ward, third ward. Yep, that's another one of the Ramsey Road event. On Colonial Drive for the third ward, the Keeger family, Brian and Angie, on Colonial. And then the fourth ward on Sierra Drive, the Schreier family, very lit up. And certainly, these pictures never do it justice, so, you know, we always recommend to, you know, take the kids out and drive around the neighborhoods and see some of these ones. You know, like I said, you're trying to capture them on a picture, and obviously, that's a challenge. And that is, so that was the Schreier family. The fifth ward on Rosecrest, the Izzet family, or Zach Izzet, rather. Very nice. And then the sixth ward on James Street, the Brittany Delancey and Bobby Greenwald. Surprised they got that all in the frame. And the seventh ward, the Corkin family right on Garden City Drive. I did drive by that one the other day, and you have to stop. And yeah, that is actually Santa Claus right there in the right corner.
thought it was
He's sitting
Tom.
there in the yard. So that's very good. And then, so out of those 7, the grand prize went to Denise Burkholder on Ramsey Road, our grand prize winner. And, but thank you everyone for participating.
7th Ward would like a recount, please.
We'll consider that in January. How about that?
But
But thank you for joining in and celebrating. Once again, I mentioned Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. I hope everyone had a nice Hanukkah. Happy holidays to all. Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year. And with that, I'll seek a motion to
Motion.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you and good night.
Aye.